Good morning, Yasha Allah, all in the diaspora. Coming to you and howling Banyamyan. And we thank the Most High, our power, for this privilege of serving you in this manner. So we would pray, Abba Yahweh, in the precious name of our Malak, Yahweh Shai, and Rawawak. We honor you today because you are our power. You are the Alahayim of all flesh and all spirits. We give you the praise today unto your honor and your esteem. Pray you guide us now and direct us in this presentation. Guide, protect, and preserve, Yasha Allah, those of the nation who love you, love our Mashiach, and unto whom you have given the gift of your Ruach. In the precious name of Mashiach we pray. So let it be. Today we present to you roots of rebellion. And representatives of the roots of rebellion are Gad, that's the short for Gadriel, the one whose name Esau put into the scriptures as God, Satan, the woman, Esau, Levi, and of course, our man gets tagged right in there with rebellion. So right before we get right into it, I want to pass out a notice of a matter I am concerned with here in the Bahamas, and it may be of concern to others of our family, the Hebrew Yasharalite family. It's a matter of our men being singled out. This is my version of it. I am suspicious that our men are being singled out to endure massive prostate checks. And as a result of these multiple prostate tests, manual prostate testing, our people, our men, are developing a need for Pampers. What's the other name they call it? What's that? Adult diapers. Yes. I believe most assuredly that Esau has come up with the prostate examination mandate to destroy the bowels of our Yasharalite men that are having a situation of leaking bowels. You walk the street and you get the oozing coming out, the bowels. due to the constant aggravation of this prostate testing. I put it out there for consideration to our brethren. All right, Genesis 3:1. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. The woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit, the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So here we have, in the midst of humanity, the root of rebellion being brought in, and taking root in the first couple that Abba Yah had made. This happens as a result of the missionary effort of one Gadriel, who's called Satan. And in the first verse of our scriptures, Esau put his name. Esau doctored up the name of Gadriel and put it into the scriptures in the first verse. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. I want to take you to Ezekiel 28. Ezekiel 28, 12 through 15, and maybe a little more reading. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, thou sealest of the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl and onyx, and the jasper, sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes were prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have said thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane under the mountain of Alahayim, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness, and I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. And all they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. So here we have a description of the entity that spoke to our first mother in the Garden of Eden and invited her to rebel against the Most High and her husband. The entity that we talk about as the serpent here in Ezekiel is the entity that we find in the book of Enoch as by the name of Gadriel. And so Gadriel is the fellow whose name Esau has transformed and made it into the word by the name of God and put it in the first verse of our scriptures. So from the outset of our entrance into the scripture, we are tortured by idolatry with the name of Satan, the transformed name of Satan, Gadriel. We need to give attention to that. So here we see Gadriel with the transformed name of God being shown up by the Most High in the book of Ezekiel. And we find the Most High expressing the thoughts of his heart towards this Gadriel. And look what he says about him. Take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith Yahweh, Elohim, thou sealest of the sun, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. So here we get an appreciation of, or we begin to get an appreciation of the creation of the one the book of Enoch shows you to be God. And so he was full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He had been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. And check him out in verse 13. Every precious stone was thy covering: the sardius, topaz, diamond, beryl, onyx, jasper, sapphire, emerald, carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. This last section of the verse, I believe, points to the workmanship concerned with Gadriel's ability to produce music So he had these pipes that allowed him to excel in vocal gymnastics. And verse 14 says, "Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth." So as a cherub, the cherub is a four-winged malachim. In the scriptures, you have six-winged malachims, four wings, and two wings. So Gadriel is among them, the cherub. And one of his duties, at least what we see is probably his main duty, was to be a covering cherub for the Most High, Elohim, Yahweh. So he would, have those wings stretched out like the wings of the cherub in the Ark of the Covenant, And so he would be, his wings would be like a protective shade over the Most High. The Most High is a king, Malach, the great I am. So he has his entourage of Malachims that cater to him and provide him comfort and so forth. So the anointed cherub, Gadriel, was one of those who attended to the Most High and provided comforts to the king, to the chief Malach. And it says further that this Gadriel walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled thee, the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Elohim, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Why? Verse 17, thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. So here we see one of the, about the most serious concern that was had concerning Gadriel, the fallen one that we call Lucifer. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. So you can see by this that the Most High, Yahweh, put some serious work into Gadriel. I believe he was a handsome cat. And maybe we can make a supposition on the fact that he was a cherub. These are the four-winged malachims. And it appears, or it seems to lend itself to the suggestion that the four-winged cherub was a special work of art to be a protector of the Most High. You have to have some skill. You have to have some serious skills and knowledge. And here we see that depiction raised about Gadriel. He's a knockout guy, and he caused some pain and concern to the heart of the Most High, some serious pain. Did some serious rebellion, as we are seeing here in the scripture. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground, and I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. The Most High is showing his intense hatred, if you will, of the turn of events that led Gadriel to the depth of rebellion that he took to and led. In heaven itself, you find in Revelation chapter 12, I believe it is, about the war that broke out in heaven, led by Gadriel. And so eventually he became, he was the one actually that led our first mother astray and therefore influenced our first father. Out of his grief and sorrow for the loss of his wife, his companion, he fell into the trap of rebellion as well. And so the Most High is showing his regret and his intent as the Almighty One to bring retribution for the disturbance of the divine order by this serpent, by this Gadriel, Satan. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. So it says further on in verse 18, I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. So here we get a look into the manner of destruction that the Most High is bringing against Gadriel, whom Esau names God, and put it in the scriptures to achieve the level of idolatry that we have witnessed in the earth. And with particular emphasis, this idolatry was cast to lead the children of Yasha'Allah astray. It is time for us to correct it now that we know what was the design in putting God there. Idolatry and rebellion against the Most High and against our Mashiach and the Ruach. The Most High then gives us a view of what he is doing and will do to Gadriel, the beautiful, exquisite creation. I mean, a master creation, man. Because of his beauty. You see such a thing? The master who created him, I mean, you know, did his thing with this fellow, you know, lavished upon him some workmanship that, you know, to look at it and read about it here is astounding. And, you know, I suppose to behold and see it would be equally marvelous, but he corrupted himself. And so our first parents were led to follow the example. Let's look at Genesis 25. Genesis 25, 20. Uh, 22, maybe 38. Let's see how it goes. Genesis 25, 20. Let's pick it up at 20. Oh, pardon me, pardon me. Genesis 25. And and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Elohim was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Elohim. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. When the days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. First came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. After that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, man of the field. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau. Get that? Loved him. Well, because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Well, you find now, when you go further into this story of the birthright and blessing, Esau later repented. I mean, you have this, you're going all the way into the book of Hebrews. I think I won't go there now, but it says that Esau sought to get the birthright back with plenty tears, sorrow and tears, but the father already turned it over. I would like to pose a question or an observation here. How was it that a mere mortal would refuse the offer of the Most High. I mean, like, you think that transacting a matter or matters with your buddy, your fellow human. I mean, imagine the Most High offers you privilege, and you think you're too good to say yes to him and cooperate with him. So Most High rescinded the offer, gave it to Jacob, who was so glad to have it, to receive it. And but Esau, finally understanding that the Most High wasn't playing his type of game, now from then Esau was on the warpath against Jacob for accepting the offering of the Most High. He turned it down, didn't want it. But Jacob accepted it lovingly and with gratitude. And now, from then, thousands of years ago until now, Esau is raising havoc among the children of Jacob, Yasha'Allah, because of his error, his arrogance. Yeah, that's the reason for all the tension and terrorism we have in our midst, because of Esau's foolishness and his arrogance. Well, now, look at Genesis 49. In Esau, now you see the escalation of the roots of rebellion. Esau rebelled on account of his own foolishness. And has torn the world up. I mean, along with Gadriel, they two covenanted together to turn the world upside down in a negative way, as we can see today. So Genesis 49, verse 3. Pardon me, verse 5 in Genesis 49. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, my being, come not thou into the secret. Unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger. It was fierce in their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Yasha'Allah. And so we look with some curious observation on Simeon and Levi. Levi, who eventually becomes the priesthood of Yasha'Allah, the one who stood between Al-Hayam and the nation of Yasha'Allah to speak to Yasha'Allah on the behalf of the Most High and to the Most High on behalf of Yasha'Allah. A very high position and place of authority Levi was blessed with. But we see from this passage that Levi had other thoughts and did other things along with his brother Simeon, knowledgeable about I know, of course, that being the priest, they would have had, well, Levi in particular, would have had access to all types of knowledge, all the gamut of knowledge would have been available to him. And we find that in the battle for independence, for Haiti's independence, Levi let it all hang out in anger, disassociating himself from the Most High and the priesthood. And I don't know, I don't have the knowledge directly. I can only suggest that from the previous passage we read, verse 5 and 6, that if they didn't have the particular instruments of cruelty that Esau was privy to, and that these instruments of cruelty were the property of Mizraim or Egypt, coming from Amun-Ra, the chief of spells and witchcraft and diabolical evil. And as I was saying, and I'm saying now, I'm not all too sure how it operated with Levi as with Simeon, but Levi being the priest, the priesthood, he would have in the war for independence, Haiti's independence from the Catholic Church, if he didn't already have the Kabbalistic 8 that we talked about sometime earlier, and the Sephirothal tree of Amun-Ra, if he didn't have it, when it mentions in Genesis 49:5 concerning the instruments of cruelty, if they were not the same as what was shared with Levi by Esau, the Catholic Church, certainly was the Kabbalistic 8 and the Sephirothal tree of Amun-Ra. And I want to kind of show you in words. I don't have the pictorial to show you, but I'm sure you've seen the Sephirothal tree. You can put it in your search and see what the tree looks like. And this instrument of cruelty that Levi began to operate with vicious, evil intention following the breakaway from the Most High. He was quick to use it against Yasha'Allah. For instance, the house of Yahweh, the brethren of Levi. There were 3 tribes that were the leading tribes of all Yasha'Allah. Yahweh itself on the North American continent, and Benjamin, or to the Caribbean, and of course Levi. But now, since Levi defected and turned his back on his heritage to be the priesthood under the Most High, Levi opted to be priest unto Gadriel, unto Satan, and the Catholic Church, with the help and comradeship of Esau. They too came together in a blood oath covenant with a design to destroy the rest of Yahweh, the other two tribes. And so this is what we've had happening to the house of Yahweh since the revolution for Haiti's independence. Right away, it was the design of Levi in cooperation by a blood oath covenant with Esau to destroy Yahweh. And so it shows in the weakness that exposes the timidity and the lack of courage of Yahweh in the wake of the police brutality and rank disregard for the humanity of Yahweh over in the North American continent in particular. The blood oath covenant of Esau and Levi is the strength of Esau that bolsters his arrogance and pride with such assurance. He had a license to destroy Yahweh, for Yahweh make up the three tribes that was brought out of Africa under the last 500 years, brought out of Africa to be slaves. That's the people. These were the people of the transatlantic slave trade, Yahweh. So Levi, having turned his back on the Most High, became an instrument unto Satan in cooperation with Esau for the destruction of Yahweh. And this is the root of the timidity and fear that has plagued Yahweh since that time until now. And we see it in the many slayings of our brothers and sisters on the North American continent. You know, recently, Brother George Floyd, I think his name was, and the many others that were slain execution style by the police, by Esau, emboldened and fortified, strengthened, undergirded by the blood oath covenant of himself with Levi. In rebellion, rank and raw rebellion against the Most High and his people, Yasha'Allah. And so, yes, we encourage our brethren in Yahweh to save themselves from the wicked, destructive, and unfeeling priesthood of Levi, but to break away from it. I mean, look at the 200 and odd years we have been held down as Yahweh, suffering in the diaspora, with particular emphasis in the Americas, under the political system, with the police as the guardian, as the keeper of the gate. They destroyed Yahweh, man, because of the blood oath covenant. So we are called, we have been called by the Most High to forsake that covenant with Levi. Get rid of him out of your sight. And those who have repented in Levi, we come together and have a reformation, maybe you could say, regroup as the children of the Most High. Let the Most High do what he promises, what he proposes to do in the book of 2 Thessalonians to the anti-Messiah, not Antichrist, the anti-Messiah. That's Levi. I want you to think a little bit, well, as much as you would like to, about the item that I name as the Sephirothal tree. Of course, you have the Kabbalistic 8, that was used particularly against Banyamin. But the Kabbalistic tree, when you look at it, I want you to understand that this thing has those straps on it, you know, cross beams, cross membering of the beams and so forth. Imagine this Sephirothal tree to be like let's say like a coffin that you bury the dead in. And so you would put the body in the coffin box, and then the straps, or the top areas with those cross beams, the straps would be attached or secure, fastened down with the body inside of this coffin or grave. And those straps would have the body secure in there, couldn't get out. This was the effect of the Sephirothal tree on Yahweh. We were pressed down securely by the Sephirothal tree of Levi and held under his spell, the Amun-Ra spell. But you know, Amun-Ra and Levi became essentially one in terms of their hatred for the Most High and for Yasha'Allah. And so the sacrifice of the Mashiach, our Malak, is the method for release from that Sephirothal tree and for release from brotherhood relationship with the fallen Levitical priesthood. We have to reform, brothers. So keep your prayers going as we go into the Feast of Atonement. Mashiach is coming to take care of those matters if we apply ourselves to his headship. So, well, I had one more reference concerning Levi. The reference of our forefather, or the Levite forefather directly, Moshe, who became the priest of the Most High to minister on the behalf of the Exodus from Mitzrayim, from Egypt. He was a Levite. And so there you have it. The Levites have transgressed seriously. And you have now the view of the roots of rebellion in the whole earth. The chief or the highest orders of rebellion against the Most High, and of course against his chosen Yasha'Allah. our Mashiach is on the way now to come, and see how we do and how we address ourselves to our enslavement on all counts and all accounts, and to deliver his chosen from the oppression and the suppression of all the evil ones, including Levi and Esau together. So I encourage you, my brethren, to be strong, as the Apostle Paul said, be strong in Elohim and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Elohim to be able to stand against these forces that have stood against us, and we didn't even know, but now we know. Let's be valiant men and do what needs to be done. In the name of the Most High, our power. Bless you, Yasha Allah. Much love. One love. In the name of Mashiach. So let it be. Isha.
Press N twice.
Press N.
Yes, that is.
And then